Evan Cole never planned to crash on an alien moon. His ship was simple, old, and slow, but it was supposed to bring supplies to a human research station. Instead, a sudden energy storm hit in the middle of space, tearing the engines apart and throwing the ship into wild darkness. When Evan finally woke up, he found himself lying on warm soil, his face covered with soft, glowing dust that floated like tiny stars. He sat up slowly. His head felt heavy. The sky above him was purple with long clouds that looked like dragon wings. Strange trees grew around him, their leaves shining like glass. The place was beautiful, but completely silent. Too silent. Evan stood and looked around. His ship was broken in half, smoking quietly. But he saw something more worrying: massive claw marks on the ground, long and deep, as if some huge creature had dragged itself through the jungle not long ago. "Great," Evan muttered, brushing dirt from his jacket. "This place is friendly already." He checked his small survival bag, grabbed a flare knife, and began to walk. The glowing spores in the air moved around him like fireflies, lighting a path deeper into the jungle. He followed slowly, unsure if the spores were natural or something watching him. As he walked, the forest grew thicker. The air buzzed with soft energy. Then he saw something strange: symbols carved into stone, bright with blue light. The symbols felt alive, like they were breathing. "Someone lives here," Evan whispered. The next moment, everything happened at once. A deep hum rose from the trees, like a giant heart beating. Shadows moved. Branches bent. And suddenly, tall alien warriors stepped out from behind the glowing plants. Their armor was dark silver, their eyes bright like crystals. They carried long spears that vibrated with electric power. They surrounded Evan in seconds. He raised his hand slowly. "Okay, let's talk about this." The warriors did not speak. They watched him with hard, emotionless faces. Evan could feel the tension in the air. The smallest movement could start a fight he knew he would not survive. Then the forest lights dimmed, and a soft, ringing sound echoed around them. Someone was coming. The warriors lowered their heads as a tall figure walked between them. She moved with slow, calm steps. Her skin glowed faintly like moonlight. Her hair flowed like silver water. Her eyes were sharp, intelligent, and frighteningly beautiful. This was no ordinary alien. This was their queen. She stopped only a few inches away from Evan. He could feel the energy around her. The air felt warmer, heavier. She studied him carefully, like observing a rare animal. Evan felt his heart race. He had never seen anyone like her in his entire life. She tilted her head slightly, as if reading his thoughts. One of her warriors stepped forward, pointing a spear at Evan's chest. Hey, no stabbing," Evan said quickly. The queen raised her hand. The warrior froze instantly, stepping back. She looked at Evan again. Her eyes softened, but only a little. Evan felt nervous. She clearly had all the power here. He felt small, weak, out of place, and the silence was making everything worse. So he decided to lighten the moment with a joke. A stupid joke. He smiled weakly and said, "You make a cute wife." The jungle froze. Even the glowing spores stopped moving. The alien warriors gasped softly and instantly raised their weapons again, pointing every spear at Evan's heart. Evan's breath caught. Wait, what? It was just a joke. But the queen did not raise a weapon. She stepped closer, very close. She touched his cheek with her cool hand and stared into his eyes without blinking. Evan's heartbeat went wild. For a moment, he wondered if she was going to kill him. Instead, she said in a calm, clear voice, "I accept." Evan blinked fast. "You what?" "No, wait. No, you misunderstood." But it was too late. The warriors all fell to one knee. They bowed to Evan. He looked around in confusion. "No way. No way." The queen turned to her warriors and spoke a few sharp words in her language. The warriors stood and formed a protective circle around Evan, as if he were important now, as if he were part of them. The queen faced him again. "You spoke the vow," she said calmly. "Now you are bound." "Bound? Me? To you," Evan said, stepping back. "I didn't mean it. It was a joke. Humans do that." She touched her chest with a hand. "On my world, such words are sacred." They cannot be broken. Evan felt the ground fall from under his feet. He had accidentally proposed to an alien queen, a powerful alien queen, and she had accepted without blinking. Two warriors placed a glowing collar-like band around Evan's wrist. It tightened with a warm pulse. He jumped in shock. "What is this?" The queen answered softly, "A mark of the chosen." Before Evan could argue, the ground rumbled. Lights flashed through the jungle. The queen turned, her expression suddenly serious. She grabbed Evan's arm. "Kulme, your joke has changed your fate." The warriors began marching him toward a massive crystal cave glowing in the distance. Evan swallowed hard. He had no idea what he had just stepped into, but it was too late to turn back now. Evan walked between the alien warriors as they led him deeper into the glowing jungle. The air changed with every step. The light grew dim, and the plants began to move slightly, as if reacting to his presence. Every time he tried to step away, the warriors closed the circle tighter around him. The queen walked ahead of him, silent and calm. She did not look back, but Evan could feel her attention on him, like a soft pressure in his mind. It was strange, almost like she could hear his thoughts. They arrived at the entrance of the crystal cave. It rose high like a mountain of pure blue glass. Energy hummed from its walls, vibrating through the ground. Evan felt his skin tingle the moment he stepped inside. Alien scientists stood in lines, wearing long silver robes. Their eyes widened when they saw him, and they whispered something urgently to the queen. She nodded slowly. Evan frowned. "Okay, everyone keeps staring at me like I'm some kind of rare animal. What's going on?" The queen finally turned to him. "You spoke a sacred vow," she said, "and now the prophecy has awakened." Evan threw his hands up. "I didn't wake anything. It was a joke. Omanjuka." She raised a finger. Silence fell instantly. "You do not understand," she said. "Our people have waited generations for the human spark. Only a human can complete the ancient bond." Two scientists activated a floating hologram above them. It showed a human-shaped figure standing beside a queen. Energy flowed between them like bright fire. Evan's eyes widened. "That looks like me." "It is you," the queen said. "Or someone like you. A human who will speak the vow and bind himself to the queen of our world." Evan shook his head. "No, no way. You're telling me your entire future depends on me telling a joke." "Not a joke," the queen said. "A vow of union." She stepped closer, her glowing eyes locked on his. "On this world, words have power, and your words have chosen your path." Evan backed away, but two warriors blocked him. "Hold on, hold on. You can't force someone into marriage. That's not how things work." The queen raised her chin. "This is not marriage. This is alliance. Your bond with me will awaken the core. Without it, my people will fall." "Fall? From what?" Evan asked. The queen gave the answer slowly, her voice heavy. "The Voidborn are returning." Evan had never heard the name, but the way the warriors stiffened told him everything he needed to know. Fear cracked through the room like a silent wave. The queen continued. "They destroyed our outer colonies. They feed on life. They grow stronger from death. Only the human spark can activate the heart core, our only defense." Evan swallowed hard. "So, you think I can fight these things?" "No," she said. "Together, we can." The scientists circled Evan and scanned him with glowing devices. Strange symbols flashed across the walls. One scientist gasped. "He carries the resonance," the scientist said. "His energy matches the ancient code." The queen nodded. Her expression was unreadable. Half relief, half something deeper. She placed her hand on Evan's wrist where the glowing band had locked itself. "This mark binds you to me," she said. "Your words were the key. You cannot break it now." Evan stared at the glowing band. It pulsed like a heartbeat. "This is insane," he whispered. "I don't belong here." The queen stepped closer and lowered her voice. "You belong more than you know. And if you leave, my people will die." The cave rumbled suddenly, dust falling from the crystal ceiling. An alarm echoed through the tunnels. A warrior ran in, shouting, "Your Majesty!" Energy surged at the outer gates. The queen's eyes hardened. "They are here." She grabbed Evan's arm. "You want to escape? Then survive this first." Before he could answer, The warriors pushed him toward a massive door that opened with a blinding blue light. Outside, something dark moved in the sky. Something huge. Something alive. And it was coming for them. The blue light faded, and Evan stepped outside the crystal cave with the warriors all around him. The air felt heavier, colder, as if the world itself was holding its breath. The queen stood at the front, staring up at the dark shape moving above the treetops. Evan followed her gaze and froze. A massive shadow drifted across the purple sky. It looked like a giant black creature with long wings made of smoke and metal. The shape twisted and pulsed like it was alive. Its presence alone made the ground tremble. What is that?" Evan whispered. "The Voidborn Scout," the queen answered. "A hunter. If it finds us, the entire swarm will come." Evan felt a chill go down his spine. "That thing is just a scout." "Yes," she said, "and it kills everything it finds." The creature let out a low, horrible sound, like metal screaming underwater. Evan's heart hammered in his chest. Warriors raised their weapons, forming formation lines. Their armor glowed with bright colors as they prepared for battle. The queen turned to Evan. Her voice was calm, but not soft. "You must stay close to me. If the Voidborn touches you, the prophecy ends. Our world ends." "Great," Evan muttered. No pressure, but there was no time for jokes now. The creature swooped lower. Its wings spread wide, casting a giant shadow over the jungle. Evan felt a strong pull in his chest, like something draining his energy. "The Voidborn feed on life," the queen warned. "Do not let it get near you." A group of alien warriors fired bright blue blasts into the sky. The shots hit the creature, but the blast vanished into its smoky body like water, disappearing into sand. "It absorbed it," Evan shouted. "It absorbs everything," the queen said, "except heart, core, energy." "Which is," she looked at him, "which is inside you." Evan's eyes widened. "Me? Why me? I didn't ask for this." "No one asked for destiny," she said. The creature dove straight toward them. "Move," the queen shouted. The warriors scattered as the ground exploded behind them. Evan stumbled, falling to his knees as dust and fire blasted across the jungle floor. The Voidborn's huge claw scraped the earth just inches from where his head had been. Evan gasped. "Okay, that almost killed me." The queen grabbed his arm and pulled him up with surprising strength. "Stay alive." Warriors jumped into the air using energy boosters, striking the creature with glowing blades. But the Voidborn twisted its massive body, swallowed two warriors whole, and screamed again, sending a shockwave that knocked Evan backward. His ears rang. His vision blurred. The queen rushed to him. "Evan, listen to me." He blinked hard. I'm Euphine. I think." "No," she said firmly. "You are losing energy. It is draining you faster than the others." "But why?" "It's ignoring them and coming for me." "Because you carry the spark," the queen said. "You are the one danger it fears." The creature swooped again, heading straight at Evan. This time, the queen stepped in front of him. Her body glowed with bright blue energy as she raised both hands. A shield of pure light exploded from her, blocking the Voidborn strike. The sky flashed white. The ground cracked. Evan felt a wave of heat pass over him as the queen pushed the creature back with a burst of power. He stared in shock. You saved me." She breathed hard, her glow fading. "I protect what is mine." The creature circled above them, furious now. Its body grew larger, darker, as if absorbing all the fear and energy around it. The queen placed a hand on Evan's chest. "You feel that? The core is waking inside you." Evan felt a strange warmth spreading through his chest, like a rising sun. "What does that mean?" "It means," she said, "that the prophecy is true." The Voidborn screamed again and dove toward them with full force. The queen grabbed Evan's hand. "We run," she said, and together they ran into the jungle as the monster crashed down behind them, shaking the entire moon. Evan and the queen ran through the glowing jungle as the Voidborn crashed behind them like a falling mountain. Trees snapped in half. The ground shook with every strike of its massive claws. The creature was hunting them specifically, its twisted head always turning toward Evan no matter how fast they moved. "Why is it following me?" Evan shouted as he leaped over a broken log. "Because the spark inside you threatens it," the Queen replied. "The Voidborn were created to destroy the heart core. You're now part of that power." "That's fantastic," Evan yelled. "I'm a walking target." Branches exploded near them as the Voidborn's tail whipped across the jungle. A wave of dark smoke spread through the air, draining the light from the plants. The glowing spores that once floated peacefully now fell lifeless to the ground. The Queen suddenly grabbed Evan's shoulder and pushed him to the ground. A blast of dark energy passed over them, turning a giant tree into dust. "Don't stop," she ordered. They kept running until the jungle opened into a wide valley filled with tall crystal pillars. The pillars hummed softly, sending waves of blue energy into the sky. Evan stopped, breathless. "What is this place?" "The Hall of Echoes," the Queen said. "A sacred ground. The Voidborn fear it." As if on command, the creature halted at the valley's edge. Its giant wings curled in disgust. It hissed, screeched, and backed away, dissolving into the shadows of the trees. Evan collapsed onto a stone. Finally it stopped. But the Queen's expression did not relax. She looked up at the sky, scanning the clouds. "This is only the beginning," she said. "If the scout found us, the swarm will follow." Evan frowned. "How many are in a swarm?" The Queen looked at him for a long moment before answering. "Million." Evan's jaw dropped. "Million? You didn't think to tell me that earlier?" "They travel like a storm," she said, "consuming entire planets. If the heart core does not awaken soon, our world will fall within days." Evan stared at the glowing pillars. "Then what do we do? I'm not a hero. I'm not a chosen one. I'm just a pilot who told a stupid joke." The Queen stepped closer. "Fate does not care about your doubts. It only cares about your choices." She guided him to the center of the valley. A large stone circle lay there, engraved with ancient symbols. Blue light pulsed from the cracks, as if something alive was breathing beneath the ground. "This is the place where the prophecy began," she said. "The last human who visited our world died before the vow was spoken. But you completed what he could not." Evan frowned. "Wait, there was another human here before me?" "Yes," she said, "a traveler from your world. He carried the spark, but he never spoke the vow. Without the vow, the power stayed locked and the core remained sleeping. So why did I awaken it?" Evan asked. The Queen's eyes softened. "Because your heart spoke before your mind could stop it." Evan looked away, embarrassed. "It was still a joke." "Not to us," she whispered. Before he could respond, the ground vibrated. The crystal pillars brightened, sending beams of light into the sky. A deep pulse ran through the valley like a heartbeat. Evan felt the warmth in his chest grow stronger. "What is happening?" he asked. "The core senses you," the Queen said. "It is calling you." Suddenly, a shadow covered the valley. Evan and the Queen looked up and saw 3 more Voidborn scouts gliding across the sky like black serpents. The Queen tightened her grip on his arm. "We must leave. The swarm has awakened." Evan swallowed hard. "Where do we go?" She pointed to the far mountains where a giant fortress shimmered like a star. "To the palace," she said, "to prepare for war." And without another word, they ran as the sky filled with the approaching darkness. The run toward the palace felt endless. The mountains glowed faintly under the purple sky, but behind Evan and the Queen, the shadows of the Void-born scouts crept closer. Their strange bodies twisted in the air like dark serpents hunting prey. Warriors rushed alongside the Queen, forming a protective circle around her and Evan as they moved. Their armor flickered with blue energy, but Evan noticed something terrifying. Their lights looked weaker than before, fading slowly. "The Voidborn are draining us from a distance," one warrior warned. "Their presence eats our strength." The Queen did not slow down. "We must reach the palace before they fully surround us." Evan glanced at her. Her steps were steady, but her breathing was heavier than earlier. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I will endure," she said. But her eyes betrayed something, pain she refused to show. When they finally reached the palace gates, tall crystal walls opened like giant glowing wings. Inside, thousands of alien citizens waited. Their faces were full of fear. Some hid their children. Others held weapons with shaking hands. The moment Evan entered, the crowd went silent. "He is the spark," one whispered. "He is the chosen." Is the prophecy true? Evan felt 100 eyes staring at him. He stepped back nervously, but the queen placed a hand on his shoulder. "Stand tall," she said. "They believe in you. They have no one else left." Evan swallowed hard. "You're asking me to be something I'm not." "I'm asking you to try," she said quietly. "Because if you do nothing, they will all die." Evan looked at the alien people, worried faces, trembling hands, mothers holding their children. They were terrified, and somehow they expected him to help them. He sighed. "Okay, I'll try." The queen nodded once, a small sign of approval. They entered the throne chamber, a massive hall filled with floating crystals that hummed like deep music. Several alien nobles waited there in long, glowing robes. But the nobles did not bow. Instead, they glared at Evan. "One step forward. You bring a human into our sacred hall? A weak creature? He will doom us." Another pointed at Evan with anger. "Break the bond. Remove the mark. Let the queen fight alone." The queen's expression turned cold. "If you question my command again, you will stand trial for treason." Silence fell instantly. But the nobles were not done. They whispered among themselves, their eyes full of hate. Evan felt uneasy. "They're not happy to see me. They fear what they do not understand," the queen said. "But they forget I decide the fate of this world." A loud boom shook the palace. Dust fell from the ceiling. Warriors rushed inside, reporting, "Your Majesty, the scouts have formed a circle around us. The swarm approaches. We cannot hold them for long." The queen turned to Evan. "We must prepare you for the ritual." Evan blinked. "Ritual? What ritual now?" "The ritual of union," she said. "It will unlock the heart core and give you the power to stand against the Voidborn." Evan hesitated. "And if I refuse?" The queen looked into his eyes, her voice low. "Then the swarm will break through and kill everyone." Before Evan could respond, a scream echoed across the hall. A noble had drawn a blade, not toward the queen, but toward Evan. "You are a danger to us," the noble shouted. "You must die." The blade swung, but stopped inches from Evan's chest. The queen stood between them, her hand glowing bright blue, holding the blade in place with impossible strength. Her eyes burned with fury. "If anyone," she said in a voice that shook the hall, "touches him again, I will tear your soul from your body." Every noble fell silent. Every warrior lowered their head. Evan stared at her, stunned. "You protected me again." The queen turned to him. "Because your life is now tied to mine. If you fall, we all fall." Outside, a rumbling roar filled the sky. The palace walls trembled. The swarm had arrived. The palace shook again, harder this time. Crystal chandeliers swayed. Dust drifted down like falling snow. Outside, distant screams echoed as the void-born swarm filled the sky, their black shapes swirling together like a living storm. Evan felt the air grow colder. Even the floating crystals in the hall dimmed slightly, reacting to the swarm's draining energy. The queen held her ground, but Evan could see the tension in her jaw. She was strong, stronger than anyone here, but even she could not hide the fear in her eyes. "Prepare the chamber," she commanded. Warriors rushed through massive doors at the back of the hall. The queen grabbed Evan's hand firmly. "The ritual of union must begin now," she said. Evan's voice shook. "Will the ritual change me?" "Yes," she answered, not hiding the truth. "It will awaken what sleeps inside you. You will no longer be only human." Evan swallowed. "And if it goes wrong?" The queen met his eyes. "Then you will die." He went silent. But there was no choice, not with the swarm breaking through the sky like a hurricane of darkness. The queen guided him toward the chamber. The doors opened to reveal a massive circular room glowing with ancient symbols. In the center floated a heart-shaped crystal, bright blue, beating like something alive. "That is the heart core," Evan whispered. "Yes," she said, "the power of our world. Without it, everything will fall." Evan stepped closer. The crystal reacted instantly, shining brighter, humming louder, as if calling him. The queen explained, "Place your hand on it. If your vow is true, it will bind you to me. Your power will awaken. Our world will survive." "And if my vow is not true," he asked. "The core will know," she said, "and it will kill you." A tremor shook the palace again. A warrior burst into the chamber. "Your Majesty, the Voidborn have broken the outer shield." "Hold them," she commanded. "Buy us time." The warrior bowed and ran. Evan looked at the glowing crystal, his hand shaking. He remembered the alien children in the crowd, the warriors, the exhausted faces, the fear. The queen standing beside him, ready to fight and die to protect her people. He took a deep breath. "Okay," he whispered. "I'll do it." The queen stepped closer. For the first time, her voice became soft. "Evan, before the ritual begins, you must know something." He turned to her, surprised. She continued, "I did not accept your vow only because of the prophecy. I accepted because you treated me like a person, not a queen. You spoke with honesty. You fought beside me. You stayed when you could have run." Evan blinked, confused. "So you trust me?" "I do," she said. Before he could respond, a massive explosion shook the chamber. The doors cracked. A scream echoed from the other side. Voidborn were breaching the palace. The queen's eyes hardened. "There is no more time. Touch the core." Evan stepped forward. He pressed his hand against the glowing crystal heart. The world exploded into light. A shockwave blasted across the chamber. Evan felt a burning fire rush through his body, filling his veins with energy. His legs shook. His vision blurred. The symbol on his wrist burned like molten metal. He screamed as blue flames wrapped around him. The queen rushed to his side. "Stay with me. Do not let go." The core pulsed faster, like a powerful heartbeat syncing with his own. Energy crackled through the chamber, sending sharp winds in every direction. Evan felt like he was being torn apart, his mind filled with visions, stars collapsing, worlds dying, ancient warriors fighting the Voidborn, the prophecy unfolding. And through all of it, he saw the queen, her hand reaching for him. He reached back. Their hands touched. Light fused between them, spiraling upward in a giant beam. Outside, the palace walls burst open as dozens of Voidborn poured inside, screeching, their shadows stretching across the floor. Warriors fell. Crystal shattered. The beasts charged toward the chamber door. But the queen held on to Evan. "Accept it," she shouted. "Say the words." Evan's voice broke through the light. "I accept, not as a joke this time." The heart core exploded in a blinding flash. Every Voidborn in the palace froze, and Evan's body transformed, glowing brighter than the crystal itself. The flash from the heart core spread across the palace like a tidal wave of light. Every Voidborn inside froze mid-attack, their smoky bodies trapped in place as if time itself had stopped. The air vibrated with raw power. The ground glowed under Evan's feet, and Evan was no longer the same. He stood tall, surrounded by a bright blue aura. His eyes glowed like stars. His skin shimmered with energy that flowed like liquid light. The symbol on his wrist had expanded into a pattern across his arm, pulsing like a second heartbeat. Evan looked at his hands, stunned. I feel everything. The whole world. Every life. Every heartbeat." The queen stepped toward him, her expression filled with shock and something deeper, pride. "The core has chosen you," she said softly. "You are now the human guardian." Before Evan could respond, the walls of the chamber cracked open as the Voidborn swarm outside roared in anger. The Paws Scouts finally broke free from the core's flash and shrieked, preparing to attack again. The queen raised her spear. "The palace will fall if we do not fight." Evan lifted his hand, and blue energy shot from his palm like lightning, striking the nearest Voidborn and tearing it apart. The creature dissolved into ash instantly. Evan stared. "I did that." "Yes," the queen said, "and you must do more." They ran toward the front gates together. Outside, chaos filled the sky. Thousands of Voidborn swirled above the palace. Their combined shadows turned day into night. Warriors fought bravely on the palace walls, but many fell. The swarm was endless. But this time, Evan felt no fear. He felt power. A warrior shouted, "Your Majesty, the defenses are failing." The queen prepared to give a desperate command, but Evan floated upward before she could speak. Blue flames wrapped around his body like wings. The swarm turned toward him, and Evan attacked. With a single punch, he sent a wave of energy across the sky. Dozens of Voidborn exploded into dust. Their screams echoed through the clouds. The aliens on the ground stared upward, shocked. "He fights like the ancient guardians," one whispered. "He is the prophecy," another shouted. The queen watched him with wide eyes as he tore through the swarm like a comet. Every blast he fired lit up the sky. Every strike saved a life below. But the swarm began to merge. The thousands of creatures twisted and fused into one massive void-born titan. Its size blocked half the sky. Its mouth opened, revealing swirling darkness that pulled at the air. The titan roared, shaking mountains. Evan hovered beside the queen on the palace roof. "That thing is huge. It is the Voidborn Prime," the queen said. "Their leader. If we defeat it, the swarm will fall." Evan nodded. "Then we finish this. Together." The queen placed her hand on his arm. Energy flowed between them, bright and powerful. Their lights merged into one glowing beam. "On my world," she whispered, "a vow spoken is never broken." Evan smiled. "Good. Let's keep this one." They launched themselves toward the Titan. The monster struck first, firing a wave of dark energy. Evan blocked it with a shimmering shield. The queen leaped from his side and drove her spear into the monster's wing, sending sparks everywhere. Evan charged straight into the Titan's chest. Light exploded from his body, burning through the creature's darkness. The queen followed with another attack, slashing through its heart. The Titan screamed, a roar that shook the clouds, before its body cracked apart into thousands of shards of black mist. Then silence. The sky cleared. The darkness faded, and the Voidborn swarm was gone. Evan floated back to the palace roof, exhausted but alive. The queen landed beside him. The warriors and citizens watched from below. Evan looked at the queen. "So, are we still married? Or was that just part of the prophecy?" The queen stepped closer, her voice calm but warm. "It began with prophecy," she said. "But now, I choose you." Evan smiled. "Then I choose you too." The queen touched his hand. The heart core symbol on his wrist glowed softly. Around them, the entire world celebrated. The human who spoke a joke became the savior of a kingdom. The queen who never blinked found someone worth trusting. And together, they protected two worlds from the darkness that wanted to swallow them.